Hello traders, Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com, December the 8th, 2024. In this week's video, we'll discuss how the markets have made it up to the 6100 level and stalled. For a third week, the markets moved higher and are currently setting up a potential fade unless we see a rotation into value stocks. With this in mind, we're starting off with 11 bullish indicators, 6 neutral, and 3 bearish to go into Monday trading. In order for the markets to move higher for a fourth week, we need to see breadth improve and expand into additional sectors. The New York FANG components performed very well last week, with Tesla running up at the end of the day, with all 10 components rising, leaving the index up 5.98% for the week. While that's all well and good, with growth outperforming value as this rises, we do need value to rotate in order for the markets to move higher for a fourth week. At present, value stocks in these sectors are moving a bit lower, and something that needs to be corrected. With the S&P 500 just below 6,100, higher for a third week, this breadth really needs to improve and capture more stocks, not just the NASDAQ 100 or small caps. We need mid caps and large cap stocks to follow through, especially in the financials, industrials, healthcare, and energy sectors that were lagging last week. In addition, with VIX at 5-month lows, there is a heightened probability that we could see a spike in the index and a move back towards the mean, the 200-day or the 50-day in the short term. So for this week, we need to see an expansion of breadth into more sectors, for VIX to remain low, in addition to seeing junk bonds staying in the top of its range and push away from the 50-day moving average. RSI is rising as yields and the dollar move lower, with the latter showing a little support at the lower Bollinger Band. RSI is right at 50. So we need to see the 10-year and the US dollar continue its fade to help incite some improvement and breadth that we'll be looking for this week. With sector strength only showing up in consumer discretionary thanks to Amazon and Tesla, tech, semiconductors, software, hardware, all of that moved higher, in addition to communications thanks to Meta and Google. The remaining sectors need to rotate in if we're going to get any sort of follow-through on a fourth week, a task we don't presently see in the cards with only 11 bullish indicators. That said, if we can see an improvement in biotechs, IBB, and XBI, a continuation of what we saw last week with tech, and perhaps financials and industrials improve somewhat, we might see the indices at least flag or produce a doji for the week. For now, though, most of the sectors that we need to rotate in are currently showing a fade, like the financials and industrials, healthcare, and utilities. So we really need to see these sectors pick up some strength if we're going to get any follow-through for a fourth week higher. This week we have quite a few stocks that could follow through that were pretty strong last week, like Palantir and Reddit. In addition, Amazon, Broadcom, Microsoft, Meta, Tesla gave us reason to believe there could be some follow-through this week, with S&P support at 60.50 and resistance at 6,100. Amazon's Bollinger Bands continue to expand. It's only a third day that TTM has been pushing higher in cyan, with Bollinger Bands expanding rapidly, RSI showing strength. Broadcom also rose to its upper Bollinger Band, moving back above its 50-day moving average, RSI rising. In addition, Microsoft has spent the last 5 trading days at its upper Bollinger Band, with Bollinger Band still expanding and RSI rising. Meta doing the same thing for the past 5 trading days, rising with the exception of Thursday, but we closed near the highs with RSI rising as well, volume picking up. Netflix also had a good week, still trending. Bollinger Bands are paralleling the 21-day moving average. When that's the case, look for a grind higher. RSI is embedded. While Friday also saw a huge surge in Tesla towards the end of the day, if you were in the trading room, with the stock rallying hard in the evening session. While Nvidia did have a good week closing higher, it moved lower on Friday, so that's setting up a bearish bias on Monday. With the majority closing near the highs of the week, we have many IBD 50 names that also look good, like A-Lab. Axon continues trending. Commvault also giving us a bullish look with stochastics rising. CLS, mentioned by several people in the trading room on Thursday and Friday, continues its bullish trend. Many of the Bitcoin-related names also rising, like Coinbase. We saw DocuSign riding along its 21-day moving average. That looks bullish as well. Stochastics continues to rise. Fortinet and many of the security stocks rose last week as well. Hims and Hers looks like it wants to break out. Stochastics above 80, embedded. HUT, another Bitcoin-related name, grinding higher, but note the wicks on Thursday and Friday. Stochastics is rising, volume increasing, watching for a follow-through there, along with Mara. Netflix and Nvidia we already discussed. Robinhood, nice follow-through. Reddit also had a good week. These could follow through this week. SoFi, a cheap stock that looks like it wants to continue higher. Buyers at the 21-day moving average. Toast, that one made an abrupt turn on Friday. It looks like that could bounce back above the recent highs. Trade Desk, advertising, also looks very strong with the potential for a follow-through this week. Additional stocks from a scan that I wrote for a member that looks for stochastics oversold, MACD starting to show potential for a cross, and for RSI rising. Picked up quite a few stocks that look like they could follow through, like an American Express, ASTS, which many of you have looked at recently. Many of these are banks as well, BANR, Banner, Digital Realty Trust, and DoorDash. Both of these look like they could follow through. Volume increasing, stochastics turning back up, prices at the 21-day and bouncing. Kinsale Capital, a stock that we've traded in the past. Very bullish activity on Friday. Lemonade still consolidating at the highs. The regional banks consolidating at the 21-day. RadNet looks like it might bounce as well. Right at the 21-day moving average with stochastics rising. Bollinger Bands coming together. Many stocks I've been looking at this weekend are showing Bollinger Bands contracting, so the next step is for Bollinger Band expansion. Being a 4th week higher, S&P would need to see some value stocks rotating as well. If we're going to see any kind of continuation this week. VSE Corp, Bollinger Bands moving together. Looks like it has a potential for a breakout. RSI rising, volume picking up, stochastics also turning. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com. with your weekend video newsletter for December the 8th, 2024. Watch these stocks down below. They've all been collated with potential for follow-through this week. We're starting off with 11 bullish indicators, 6 neutral and 3 bearish to start on Monday. So we really need to see those value stocks rotate in and potentially a follow-through in the tech sectors that were pretty strong last week. I'll send out a watch list later tonight around 12 midnight on the East Coast, around 9 o'clock on the West Coast. So be sure to check your inbox for that later tonight. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care, and we'll see you in the morning.